I've got in various shops in Manchester, along with a couple of fudge snack bars. And so, yeah, can't show too much of my chest. I've not got a shirt on, but I'll be careful. Yeah. And yeah, so thanks to, I'm not sure his name was, Jack, I think, earlier, for his help. What I'll do is I'll get a shirt on, I'll be able to show you. Just one moment, please. Yeah. Now I've got this jumper on because I can't even afford the shirt, only jumpers, hence why I didn't have a shirt earlier. Like, see if anyone can donate to help me down below. So, it isn't that bad. I did manage to get my mum to pay for some shopping earlier, but if someone could pay me her help back and help her, down description below. Or hell, if you don't want to help me with just her, by all means get in touch with me, I'll get her in touch. But anyway, yeah, link in the description down below. If anyone wants to pay for the clothes got in Primark. Anyway, I managed to get these nice couple of drinks from the shop earlier, and again, if someone can pay for these, that'd be great. And I'll rub this on my leg. That's trouser leg a bit better. Damn a Mountain Dew. Let's see how this is. Bloody annoying though. One thing about Travelodge's housekeeping is I had 2 loo rolls originally here, and they put one of those loo rolls back where I took it from in the bathroom, even though there was already plenty of one already there. But yeah, currently staying in Manchester in this hotel room, and I'm enjoying this Mountain Dew. I'm here because I've got an appointment about 6:30 to meet the laundry guy. Shout out to him, maybe even get him in a video if he agrees. Shout out to, yeah, the guy from the laundry I showed him earlier video. I think it's called My Laundry, not sure, but it's next to a cafe called the La Creme Coffee Shop, not to be confused with Cafe de la Creme, which is a completely different cafe. Wonderful taste, Mountain Dew. Reminds me of an old episode of The Simpsons where Homer Simpson was offered Mountain Dew or crab juice by the vendor, and he chose the crab juice. At least he didn't get crab juice. I've heard it's not that good, but anyhow. I'll try and show this. Hopefully won't spill anything. Again, now for the kombucha wild berry. Let's see how this is. And shout out to the person who took a picture of me at the demo earlier. If you do see this video, by all means get in touch and send me a copy, and also please do make me aware. Please do get in touch, and maybe you could appear in this channel and debate me. Well, please do make me aware of any rumours you happen to be spreading about me. Anyway. Just putting this top back on. I'll leave it on the floor for them to pick up when they do the recycling. But yeah, also get this open, see if I can record it. Well, possibly not. I've got a cup in the way, I would have been easier, but anyway, wash my hands and come back, and yeah, may as well taste this, I'll probably have a little bit later. Obviously, that's what it is, trying to do this channel without really any proper equipment at all. Again, I would probably be at HMP Forest Bank or HMP Manchester right now auditing the screws. I shout out to the screws. Of course, to be fair, well, I do believe that being well, I've never worked as a screw. I have been an inmate on remand at HMP Norwich. When I was young, I actually did once become a screw, funnily enough, or a copper. And I don't personally think, how can I put it, that everyone before that anyone who's applied for that position is bad. However, I do believe after a certain time, pardon me, the position corrupts, and past a certain point, by all means ACAB past a certain point, but not literally ACAB, if you know what I mean. All cops are bad, but only after they've been corrupted, is my view. But who knows, if things are differently, I may well succeed and become a police officer or screw, a prison officer, but I probably would realise how awful a job it would be within a couple of weeks, and I would have quit, and you would be seeing and you would get to view an insider look at the service. Maybe what I'll do one day is try and see if I can get Michael O, if ever I go down to see him, to appear on this channel, if I can convince him. Maybe in exchange for half the donations. But yeah, I really can't even travel down to where Michael is, which is somewhere in the southwest. I do know where, funnily enough, because I'm a pretty smart guy. I managed to find his address and his phone number online, but obviously can't publish these because he'd have me criminally charged. Well, I've heard Michael O's not someone to mess with. He is a former police officer. Like, shout out to Colin Johnson from Great Yarmouth for introducing me to him. If he's still alive, I'm not even sure if he is, because I was at his address, and all I could find were some people who I believe may have been members of his family, and that was it, and was told Colin doesn't live here anymore. Hopefully it means he is still alive, just living elsewhere. What probably has happened, unfortunately, is that I suspect he's an old folks home. But yeah, if he is, if he is alive, I do wish the best for him and his family, even if he doesn't manage to recover. But anyhow, those were nice drinks, and what I'm here to say is this trip does have expenses. I don't want to mooch off my mum, and I really would appreciate donation. It disappoints me that people commit to donating and then don't. So put the link down in the description below, revolut.me/Ella Potter, down in the description below, and donate, because I'm really begging you so I can enjoy these drinks and maybe this nice bag of fudge, because I would have gone out last night but couldn't afford fuck all. So I mean anything, sorry, like fuck all means nothing. I instinctively confused the words fuck all with anything, where actually fuck all means nothing. But yeah, so I could only afford fuck all, didn't bother. And also, shout out to, I'll call her Miss W from St Giles, because she's so funny. Like, I like to do tiger impressions in my appointments with Miss W, and she tells me to put that tiger away. shout out to one person viewing. Hello. And I appreciate that I at least have one viewer. But yeah, if you want now to make this live stream a little bit more interesting, a few of my trip's expenses you can pay for. Some nice clothes from Primark, $15.50. My mum paid, but I would really appreciate if you could pay me so I could pay her back. Not just you two watch. I mean, anyone watching, if you had money. £1 because the bloody housekeeping stuff won't reach the toilet. Yeah, no, that's Travelodge for you. Total £4. £1.50 for oust in case it's needed on my trip. 1 litre of that, with lemon and lime, only 50p, and 4-pack of fudge, only £1. £4 inclusive of VAT. Colgate toothbrush and toothpaste, $2.50 for 75 millilitres of toothpaste. Bloody rip-off in my view. $1.50 for a brush, £1 for Mountain Dew citrus, and £1 for a pack of wipes, about £6 inclusive. Also, what wasn't on there was 50p for a bag, and rather than commit theft and run off without paying, upon realising my mistake, I went back in, removed the items from the bag, scanned it, put them back in, scanned it, paid, put it back in, then left. What I'd put it back in the items that I'd taken out and already paid for, because I should have paid for the bag, and I did eventually return and pay for the bag that accidentally took from the shop without paying for. Well, I'm not a shoplifter, I made a genuine mistake. And that was all. Just looking through my pockets for anything else. Some other thing. One other thing I think if someone can willingly donate would be really good would be 16 quid for a pair of boxer shorts. Shout out to Junaid Mia, a pro-Palestine protester who's currently messaging me on WhatsApp. And also shout out to anyone looking for work, any qualified care professionals looking for a new job as a care professional. Caring Together charity, become a care professional. Got that leaflet out of my bag. Just thought I'd share it with you. For anyone looking for work as a care professional, I would sign up myself, but because of my criminal record, I wouldn't even be able to score the interview, so it'd be pointless. Wouldn't even be able to get them to agree to me recording the interview. So, yeah, Junaid Mia said, what for? The answer is, I'm going to share with you, Junaid, is because I want to film it and ask people questions. And try and give them an opportunity to prove me wrong through civil and polite discussion. And not through personal attacks and abuse. Yeah, so a case of, I'm sorry, Junaid, but when you resort to insulting your opponent in an argument, the argument is over. It doesn't even matter if you were right on the whole pro-Palestinian thing. You know, Palestinian rights is one thing. Like, I will say, the rights of Palestinian people are human rights. So Palestinian rights are human rights, for a start. But does that mean Palestinians should have national rights to a state between the river and the sea, including all of Israel, as well as the West Bank, entire West Bank, Gaza Strip, possibly southern half of the Golan Heights, and possibly more land as well. Depends who you ask, and possibly the northern half as well as the entire city of Jerusalem. The answer is, to me, no. I think it should ideally be solved by cutting the land halfway, but even that's an imperfect solution. But anyway, yeah, those are some of my expenses from this trip. If people wouldn't mind paying, would be great. Link down below in the description. And yeah, Junaid also said I don't shout at Zionists, I think, or Zionist supporters. But here's the thing, I'm not supporting Israel's current government. Yes, I do support Israel's right to exist, but I also support the report. In the event of peace, I would also support the rights of a Palestinian state to exist, within not just Gaza, but perhaps some of the West Bank as well, depending on the viability of such a state, at the very least, or possibly even more land, depending on the circumstances. Independent puppy, no I don't. Junaid is actually a man, and he's not even a friend anymore, he's more than a acquaintance. But I met him a few years ago at a rally outside UAV Engines in Shenstone. And yeah, I'm enjoying this spring. What I'll do is I'll very carefully try and secure this on film, because I'm waiting for the laundry guy to come at 6:30. In fact, just in case reception can't bring it to me or let him in, I think I'll do it. Who? No, don't know what the fuck you mean. I'm in my room. They're in a hotel, Manchester. It's my room. For the night, technically, the hotel belongs to Travelodge. Oh, I think I know you. No, not even friends with that person, you idiot. Sorry, only kind of being silly here, anyway. I'm being silly. Well, I'll be honest with you. That actually is something wrong with being closely associated with a bigot, if you are referring to who I think you are. But, oh, sorry, I thought you were referring to another Harvey. I thought you were referring to you know who? James Harvey. Oh, I got confused. Sorry. I got confused. But yeah, nothing wrong with having a boyfriend, girlfriend, or non-binary friend, or even multiple, as far as I'm concerned. Fuck it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with living your life outside the what I would call is okay holiday. Like the previous hotel, should have recorded, was a weird 4-star hotel where before last night I was resting there, trying to sleep and failing because how exhausting it, because of just how it was. But yeah, there's the bathroom anyway, there's the mirror, there's the room. Oh yeah, sorry, I completely misunderstood what you were talking about. There's the TV, and there's my power bank, and there's the bin and the floor where I've put items for recycling, and there's a plastic bag, which I think I'll remove before tomorrow, just in case they think it's waste. which isn't, rather not lose the plastic bag, as these plastic bags are very useful for various things. But yeah, it looks clean, or it is very basic, which is annoying because the night before it was a nice 4-star hotel and I didn't think to record it. But this Travelodge, I'll probably say, is a bit, as the Spanish would say, comme si, comme ça. It's not too good, not too bad. Or as the English would say, mediocre. But yeah, I may as well try and keep this video battery power permitting. Battery pack's on 68%. Just want to see if it will charge, just to make sure it's not the fault, and also use my phone wirelessly until I do need to charge it. At the moment, on 21% power, and once I'm at 15, I'll probably pass it on to this power bank. About, let me just look again. Now, it's almost 6 o'clock, about 6:30, the guy from the laundry will be here. He has my number, so once he's here, I presume he will ring me or text me. If he does turn up early. If he arrives on time, I'll probably just go down and wait for him at reception. There's a nice bar there, I can sit and wait, maybe enjoy a nice bit of water. I'll just wait for the guy, get my laundry and get it up to him, not a problem. Being able to deliver up to him, still need to meet reception so I can get him up. Just curious as to, because I did have a hand towel supplied by a hotel originally, if they'd given me another one, that'd be funny if they did. It looks like they have, despite the hand towel. Very naughty, don't do this, despite the fact that I removed the hand towel they originally supplied me with and gave it to the laundry guy. As it hadn't been through the hotel laundry, however, it's unlikely that the problem is, it's unlikely they'll be able to give it to another guest without laundering it anyway. As these way been put in my room, I probably won't be able to accept that without laundering it anyway. So what I'll probably do is, when I get it back, keep it in the bag until the end of the stay, then offer it back in the bag, or failing that, not until the end of my stay, until I've got my clothes out, quite possibly the end of my stay, or quite possibly just offer to pay for it. But I'll negotiate the end of my stay thing. They'll probably let me keep the towel for pay. But yeah, if anyone wants to help me buy that towel, I'll find out. Reception, appreciate if someone could get me some money down below. Like, shout out to that guy earlier, the Mancunian guy. I don't know what his name was, I think Mad Manny or something like that. Yeah, I believe his name's Jack. Like, I love how I was initially, I find it amusing. I was initially asked whether I whether support the Palestinians. I said no. I'm not racist or anti-gay or anti-trans either. Well, I will be. I'm trans and a lesbian myself. I'd say my sexuality is fluid, actually. I'd say it's complicated. I would say part asexual, part lesbian. That's life as a non-binary transgender woman for you. The question being, will we be recognised as equal people with equal rights to our preferred gender? Even if said people also choose not to recognise us as members of that sex, which is a different matter. Like for example, to use one example of what a TERF wrote, namely Debbie Hayton, quite a high-profile TERF, ironically trans herself, she wrote that an argument that trans women are men because women are female and trans women are male, which one is debatable. One could argue following a full transition, a trans woman loses her male hormones and genitalia and is therefore no longer male. But even if we don't set the argument, surely in many cases, biological sex and other things don't matter. The gender you're currently living as matters more. like to bring up one example of trans rights. And I believe Anne Combs, a swimmer, recently was told she couldn't compete in the female category because that has now been restricted to cisgender women. In other words, women born women only. And trans and non-binary people who are born female, I believe, can compete in either category, with certain exceptions for transgender men who have undergone a surgical and or hormone-based medical transition. But a trans man who hasn't taken hormones and or had perhaps, would surgery matter for a trans man? I don't think so. No, I don't think it's about surgery. I think for a trans man, unless, of course, you're going to argue that having a mastectomy gives you a competitive advantage, which I'm on the fence about. One could argue there's increased buoyancy caused by having large breasts, and that's an advantage. One could also argue that less breast tissue means more streamlining. I'm not an expert on acrodynamics, but does it really matter? One could argue no, because otherwise it gets a little bit silly. But anyhow, those born female can compete in the female-only group only if they are cisgender women. Those who are born female but trans and non-binary can compete either in the female-only group or in the open group. Those born male must compete in the open group every time without exceptions, including a fully transitioned trans woman, which I can understand myself because of the arguable advantage trans women have. However, my opinion is there really should be a third space from lumping us in with the men. Until then, I think TERFs should back off, frankly. And decides to protest the policy, which is arguably just getting silly. When a trans woman has had hormones, she can't compete with the other women, which is different from a trans woman like me who hasn't. Like, I do think that Swim England shouldn't be TERFs about this. I do think they're being unreasonable. So she was banned from the female-only group, joined the open group, which includes cis men, and was told she couldn't swim without a top on, which is absurd. Cis men, including those with breasts, swim all the time shirtless. To make Anne Combs wear a bra or bikini top or swimming costume that covers breasts is just being, in my view, misogynistic. And excluding her from the female-only group because of her birth sex is an example of transphobia and misandry. So showing that trans women often get it worse than either cis women or cis men. Cis men do experience misandry, quite possibly, what I've heard, they don't have it as bad as how women get misogyny, but still awful. Cis women experience misogyny, and us trans women experience both. And from what I've heard, so do trans men. And on top of that, non-binary people get it in the net for being non-binary, on top of potentially experiencing a bit of both. So yeah, my message to TERFs is kindly back off. Like, if TERFs want to create an independent competition or swim club or whatever for those born female, let them do that. We don't need Swim England to be TERFs. It's ridiculous that a trans woman got banned from the female-only group because of her birth sex, only to be told she'd have to cover her breasts because of her current gender. Like, you can't have it both ways, in my view. Either trans women are women and should be allowed to women's events, or trans women are former men, or former boys in some cases. Our former boys is perhaps a better term, because not all trans women have lived as men. Some may have transitioned long before they turned 18, which the UK defines as the difference between an adult and a child. Yes, there are some street smart 16-year-olds, but that's a legal definition. And some dumb 18-year-olds. In fact, me as 18 were dumber dumber than most teenagers, for God's sake. Like, I remember I did manage to stupidly lose money to a binary options scam. Again, if anyone knows any no money upfront options for recovering money stolen using those, let me know. You know, email address on my channel, marcuspotter02@gmail.com, comment section down below, and also my email address on my channel's About tab, I believe. Anyway, time update, about 10 past 6. But yeah, what I must say is that we must strike a balance between the rights of cis women and the rights of trans people, especially trans women, and also non-binary people as well. And not to mention the rights of trans men, which again, trans men, from what I've heard, get it in the neck too. Often they face misandry when perceived as a man, and misogyny when perceived as a woman by a fucking TERF who doesn't recognise a gender transition. So the result is, from what I've heard, trans men very often find themselves getting arrested whenever they need the toilet and can't hold it in until they can reach a gender-neutral bathroom. A trans man could risk a beatdown for using the ladies. That actually did happen. I've heard they get it worse than us. That's why I'm going to spare a thought for their needs. That is a trans person born female now living as a man, the opposite to me. In fact, I do know someone who back when I met him at Pride, Andy, had not started a transition, but said they wanted to do a transition. But yeah, trans men can very easily experience misandry. A lot do look like men. They can also get it in the neck in terms of misogyny, because TERFs believe that trans men are women and trans women are men. That is the TERF's position. I, funnily enough, once remember, before my Twitter account got deleted, for telling a TERF, stay the fuck away from us or I'll blow up your workplace. I think I gave her 24 hours to get her shit together, and that's what really caused concern. I apologise for my behaviour. You know, I've grown up since, and I know not to use social media to threaten people you disagree with violence, even if you do feel they deserve it, or arseholes. The better way to deal with it. Anyway, trans men also often experience misogyny, especially if they don't pass, but if a TERF knows they're originally female-born, they can still experience misogyny because of how a TERF perceives them. Again, my opinion is when people are being anti-trans to a trans man, that could arguably be seen as an example of misogyny, because if a male-born person, like myself, wants to live as a man, that is, of course, socially acceptable. If a female-born person, like Andy, wants to live as a man, or Buck Angel, TERFs get the hump. Which is stupid. Here's a message to TERFs. If any TERFs are watching, kindly mind your own business and just stay the fuck away from our movement. Yeah, stay the fuck away from LGBTQ plus movements and pride events. You're not welcome here. You know, of more respect for people who just openly say, fuck you, to saying we support LGBTQ plus people, and then follow that up with what amounts to, following a load of mental gymnastics, the words that are worse, in my view, than just being a giant dick, are worse than saying trans women are men and we don't want men in women's toilets, so if you don't like it, you can fuck off. To me, is a lot more polite than saying we believe trans women are women, but we have a policy, apparently, that doesn't care about your biological sex. If you identify as a woman, you have to ask at the bar whether you go this way with the word gents written on it, gasp, which implies strongly that I'm a man. Or you have to go this way with the picture of a person in a dress on it, which says ladies. Like, it's ridiculous. Message anyone watching. Boycott businesses that do this. I will not name names, but there is a business where I live in Wyndham that does exactly that. That's an example of misogynistic bathroom policy. Whereas if a cis man knows all he needs to go is go that way and ask and go in the gents without asking, and that's not a problem. Yeah, a trans woman has to ask at the bar, as does a cis woman, technically. Or if a cis woman passes, imagine the bartender isn't going to give a shit if they go towards the toilet with the person on a dress on it saying ladies, like saying. But we believe in segregating people based on the bartender's judgment of whether or not they'll get complaints to the bar. No, we don't segregate by passing or biological sex or current gender, which is self-defined, or any other numbers of sensible methods. We instead use a draconian method that feels like something I'd expect in communist China, Soviet Russia, or these days, some southern states within the United States. But yeah, having to ask a bar which toilet to use if you identify as a woman but don't pass is just ridiculous. Yeah, a cis man can go in the gents. In practice, though, suspect that if one doesn't clearly pass as a woman, I suspect if one went towards the toilet that said gents and then took a right turn instead of a left, which is funny because that particular business has what are basically two men's rooms, one on the right that is effectively gender neutral and no one gives a fuck about, one on the left, however, where you might get kicked out if you don't pass a cis man and the bar staff get complaints at the bar. Again, you can never win with a fucking turf. Again, I'm not going to advocate punching turfs in the face, but I can't help but say some people fuck me off. So here's the message for any LGBT concerned trolls watching this video. No one cares, fuck off, and if you are going to be like that, please either learn to keep your mouth shut, your options are shut up and go away. Keep your mouth shut and go away from events like Pride, shut up and go away. One other option is change your views. If any turfs are in the comments section, I'll quite happily educate you a bit more politely and less bluntly. Or be a giant dick so we can ban you the fuck out from our movements and events as we see you rather than later. Yeah, like, that's a message to dicks. Please be a giant dick so we can ban you, or cease all dickery. Again, message any cis women watching who'll bring up the concern of saying, oh, but isn't it misogynistic that women are having to share toilets with those born male? Well, the answer is no, because you don't. Many premises have an accessible toilet. You can use it on request. You can get a key cheaply, or if you explain the circumstances to your local council, that in itself may get you a key, which is understandable. As for pregnant women, I'd argue pregnancy is a disability, and you should be able to get a key just for that. And I'd argue that being a TERF is also a disability, and I think the solution is simple. Give TERFs radar keys and maybe some effigies to burn an island, a yacht and a mansion, so they can kindly shut up, fuck off, and have a good time elsewhere. That's my message to TERFs. Again, sorry for being a bit obnoxious about it. It's just all the shit TERFs have given me over the fucking many months I've been out of the fucking closet. I've got no end of fucking shit. Yeah, I know. I'm acting like a bloke because people fuck me the fuck off. Honestly. Anyway, it's about 20 past. I'll just wrap this up very shortly. Shout out to Junaid Mia saying, well, this be uploaded. I'll say the truth. My YouTube channel to say thanks for watching, and if you do want to be an ally for LGBTQ plus people, please come and be our ally. If you don't give a fuck either way and you don't want to take sides, don't. And if you do, and if you are an enemy of LGBTQ plus people, kindly sort your shit out. Or if you can't sort your shit out, or I'm not going to advocate using violence to shut people up, piss off and leave us alone. Thanks and goodbye.